I'm a person that likes to drive around, right? So I used to drive around Brooklyn while letting myself get lost in its streets and neighborhoods. It's a beautiful city, that everyone knows, right? Without exaggeration, I think I've driven and walked through about 80% of its streets and neighborhoods. And add to that, my passion for real estate, for brick and mortar. Um, I was able to identify back then around 2012 when the market was still developing, when those neighborhoods that you see today are pretty much like Williamsburg or Bed-Stuy or Park Slope. They were just beginning to develop, and you would see a scene of closed retail stores, shuttered gates, um, boarded up windows, and no sign of anyone to service those. That's when it hit me, and I identified that there is a great opportunity for me to enter such a market. Nobody wanted to touch them, or there was no available manpower to service this. And that's why I founded this firm. The collaboration that we have in our company and the culture that we have is you're able to improve the people around you, and in return, improve yourself. You're not only working on yourself, you're working on yourself rather through working on improving others. Everyone is here to help everyone else without having in mind what's in it for me. Technology is the center point of our entire operation. Through technology, we're able to keep all our agents up with the up-to-date information of our listings, of our clients, of the tenants we're working with, of the market. We have a few structures in place. We have the structure where you can work with a team, and we have a structure where you can work independently, but still part of the team. So we're able to offer that flexibility through the tools that we have in place. If you look at the commercial real estate industry as a whole, or at a macro level, there's two types of companies. The companies that focus strictly on its personal relationships with its client, the companies that have been in the business 10 years, 20 years and more. And normally those companies do not embrace technology. Matter of fact, they're not so welcoming to do that. And there's a lot of articles, a lot of data available about real estate companies that are not so acceptable to new technology. And why is that? Because the people behind those companies have the full belief that only personal relationship will do the trick. There is also the second type of companies, which is fully tech companies that only develop softwares to do exactly the opposite of the other company, which is to either minimize or eliminate the need for personal relationship in the transaction process. Tri-State Commercial believes that the commercial real estate industry will always need the personal relationship. You can never give up that personal relationship. However, you need to be efficient with your time. So therefore, you will take the technology, customize it to your needs, and that's where you're able to actually excel in this industry. So that's what we're doing. Technology, in our opinion, has never been there to replace the humans. It's only there to serve them better. So we see a future with commercial real estate firms using hybrid model, where technology is implemented to improve the human efficiency. There's a significant difference between Brooklyn and Manhattan. Manhattan is a mature market. Brooklyn is on its way. So for example, take the vacancy rate in the office market. If you take the office market in Manhattan, it has about 470 million square feet compared to Brooklyn, 38 million square feet. There are different reports about the exact square footage, but it's about that number. So 470 to 38 million. Now, if you look at the vacancy rate there, Manhattan vacancy today in the office market stands at around 19%, where the Brooklyn market stands at about 17%. Now, this is not what really is interesting over here. What's interesting is that the Brooklyn market office vacancy rate pre-pandemic stood at about that vacancy. It was about 15, 16%. While Manhattan stood at about 10, 11%, circulated around that number. So you can see the impact that actually was on Manhattan market compared to the Brooklyn market. And that also tells you that Brooklyn market has kept to be very, very solid during the pandemic. Now, there's also a significant difference in pricing. So for the office market in Manhattan, the average price for an office space is around $72, $74 a square foot. Meanwhile, in Brooklyn, the average is in the low 50s per square foot. And there is a very good product in Brooklyn. Now, if you look at the vacancy in Brooklyn, where you have 17% of 38 million square feet, that's not a lot of square footage to be filled, by the way. And think about it from another point. Manhattan has only about 1.6 million people. Brooklyn has 2.6 million people. And it went down, I think, a little bit now with the pandemic. People went to the suburbs a little bit, so maybe went down for about 100,000. But still, it's 2.6 million compared to 1.6 million. Philadelphia, if you've watched it closely in the past few years, it's a healthy market that's been on the rise. We've seen a great potential in serving that market. There's a ton of development, for example, in areas like Northern Liberties, if you're familiar with Philadelphia, Fishtown, Kingston. Those neighborhoods, when I go there, remind me of Williamsburg. It's a Williamsburg of Brooklyn. It's a Park Slope of Brooklyn, Red Hook of Brooklyn. They're very, very similar. And they're now in the process that those Brooklyn neighborhoods have been few years back. So we've seen a tremendous potential in serving that market by taking our infrastructure, our technology, and partnering up with a local firm that shared our vision and shared the growth that we're going after, and saw value in the tech and the culture that we bring into their team. We saw that there is definitely a void in companies that can come and deliver the level of service that we do when you put full customized tech, for example, at full force in serving this industry.